Hey,
What's going
Happy
on?
New Year.
Happy New Year.
Yeah, it's been a bit.
yeah, we're deep in. The
We are
weekend of the
deep
year.
in.
Has anyone written a check that said 2023 yet or anything like that yet?
No, but I was just doing something. Oh shoot, what was it? I think it was something for like my insurance, like my car insurance or something. I was doing something. It kept like being like wrong date, and I was like, I promise this is the right date. I was like, oh shit, no, it's not.
That's funny. Yeah, I did the 2024. I looked at it. I was like, I had to like think hard about it. And I was like, 2024? Like, that just doesn't look right. Weird.
The worst was always just in school when I was just on top of all my papers. You know, it took me till February to stop crossing out everything at the top right and rewriting it. I'm like, dang.
Yeah, when was our last show? It's been a couple weeks.
Yeah, it was. It
Is
was
Thanks.
Yeah, we
was it
skipped
before Christmas.
It was before Christmas. So it's been
Yeah,
this
because Christmas was on Monday.
Well, we're back. We're back. Things didn't stop moving, you know.
No, they didn't. There were a lot of things that happened. The holidays, most of it was just sales. There was some adjustments made to certain things, but tons of sales, big discounts, and then Champions Arena likes to run their "if you buy this much stuff, you can get this" kind of deal. And so there was a special there. They had a particular legendary that they were focused on. I don't know if you say Anya or Agna. I think Anya, but anyway, we'll get to that in a little bit. As far as like the new year, the one thing I wanted to like bring up first was like a new game that we are officially seeing a launch date for Echoes of Empire. So that's going to be exciting.
Which that was supposed to be end of last year.
Yeah, October 8th originally. That was the date that the devs put out there for everybody, and then they got pushed back because of, I guess we're just calling it Gala chain integration. That was the big problem. They had too many other things that were like in the works, trying to get everything up and running, so that they needed to push that back. It might have been good too. We'll see what kind of extra stuff the team was able to put together in the meantime. The launch is supposed to be January 30th. They said there's a light paper should be out sometime mid-January, so no hard date for that, but could be any time between now and then. Another thing, the build won't be out for the Mac right away. PC users will be fine, but there won't be a Mac version for a little bit. There's going to be a land rush, so then landowners will get in first. We'll see how that goes. We'll have to wait on the paper for that, I'm pretty sure. But still, January 30th, at least we now have a date in sight that both sides agree with, Gala and the devs at Ion Games.
Nice. No, Echoes of Empire is going to be a huge one. I'm surprised it's not coming out for Mac right away, considering the build itself isn't. That strategy of that type of game isn't like super resource intensive. Like, it's not super graphic heavy or, you don't have a ton of VRAM usage. So surprised that. I wonder if it's kind of similarly to, I wonder if it relates to the issues with Get Plucked and there's like, we don't want to deal with Apple development right now because it's just an additional headache. We'll get back to that later.
I wonder. They don't have to interact with an app store though. I wonder.
No, they don't.
Anyway. I have no idea what the issue is. It always seems like they build for PC first anyways. I don't know why Mac gets the second child treatment.
There's not enough people, man.
That could be it.
Yeah, I think you're going to
I think they're all nerds too. It's like, whatever. Oh, I guess we're the nerds.
But they're definitely cultic.
The
Mac users are like, they're Mac users for life. Like that's interesting.
I was a Mac user until I got into kind of the real world post college. I was Mac all the way, and then I was like, oh,
it is a college kid thing.
I was like, everyone uses Windows. I took an Excel class in college, and he was like, hey, like, if you're on Mac, this class is going to be hard for you because I don't teach Mac Excel. I teach Windows Excel because that's what 99% of the business world uses. We were like, oh, shoot. So we'd like do this virtual computer thing through our Mac where we were like accessing a Windows computer in the library. And it was, and then I got to the point where I was like, now I'm Windows all the way. I'll have my iPhone and everything, but PC's the way.
I did the same thing after college. I got a Mac because it was the cool thing to do, and realized it sucks.
Yep,
They're pretty though.
They are pretty.
They have a great design, nice and sleek.
They're neat.
I mean, I will say, battery life on a Mac is better than any Windows laptop ever, and especially in the college setting, that was really nice. Not having to charge my laptop consistently throughout the day. But exactly, I digress.
Way off topic. Come on, guys.
Yeah.
Let me give a shit.
Fuzzles.
Yeah, puzzles.
So the
Great.
Fuzzle Prime DAO has ownership of the IP. They've officially secured it from Endless AI, and they had an AMA on Saturday. Talked out a bunch of stuff as far as what their plans are, what the vision is. There's a lot of stuff that they're going to be just giving up to the DAO. Like, we need to figure this out as a team. What are we going to do first? Right now, there's a poll for which feature would they like to push first, and it looks like there's a kind of a race between like a teaching tool application and like a 3D fuzzle, a more gamified thing. That those two are kind of in the race for which one would they go with first. There's a beta version out. There's a website for it, and you can kind of just play around with it. And they also did mention things about the space cases. There was a lot in the AMA, but one of the other things I wanted to draw attention to was the space cases, the NFTs that were, they kind of came out side by side with the fuzzles. They were talking about different things that they could do. Each of there were four. I think there were 4 different categories, maybe more even. But each of them was supposed to do something originally. We didn't have a clear picture, but it was like, oh, you're going to open your space case and it's going to have this in it, or it's going to do this for you. And with Endless AI dropping the ball, then we had no idea what was going to happen with them. And now they're talking about having each of the different ones do a different thing. Some of the ideas they were coming up with was that maybe you could open up a case and it would have a collaborative NFT in it, based on some of the different things that Fuzzles does with other people. Another thing that they're talking about, building out this as a franchise for like entertainment purposes, with like cartoons, movies, things like that, and so with things like backstory and plot lines, they were talking about possibly working almost like an NFT version of a story arc for a character, that if you happen to like pull that out of one of those space cases, your fuzzle gets to do that. Your fuzzle is the one in the movie, and then you would be able to collect royalties off of that. So again, a lot of this is still in the thinking phase, but they seem to have made a lot more progress than Endless AI did. So
yeah, I mean, we talked with them. We actually talked with Gingerbread Man and Clean Socks last week, through Discord, just chatting about, what can we do at the collective to, just support their project and what they're doing, right? 100%, like, be behind it. So, just wanting to be there to support what they're doing, because they ultimately are setting it up in the same way that the collective is wanting to do the same thing with other projects, is be there to support the collectors of the actual asset itself, and by them owning it, right? The IP, they want the community to build, right? So they're putting all this stuff out, SDKs and everything else for the community to be able to build whatever it is that they want. You own your fuzzle, do what you want with it, right? And we have working with a couple friends of mine that are starting a film DAO, essentially, that supports filmmakers and stuff like that. And there's a couple of them on there. I'd love to get them in contact for some sort of fuzzle puzzle film, short series, something like that. There's
It has potential. I mean, the writing is going to be crucial, but like the characters are already lovable, so it could.
No, I think it's great. I think I'm so glad they did what they did. And they deserve a freaking high five and kudos for putting the effort out and the risking their neck to kind of go out there and grab it, and they got the IP. It's fantastic.
Yeah, I think it has a ton of potential just because it hasn't been given up on already. Like people, they sold the idea to people. People bought a bunch of puzzles, and people got emotionally attached to these things. And like I see it similar to spider tanks. Like spider tanks to me
100%.
isn't gonna die because nobody's gonna let it die because I'm not gonna let it die because we're gonna figure out a way to make it great. And
100%.
these things are cute. Like they can do it. I can totally see a little Disney Pixar cartoon movie that's rated R or something with these things. So.
Oh no,
Rated R.
They're supposed to be, like cute as shit,
I know.
cute as shit, but dirty. So
Yeah, I think there's an ability to go multiple directions with it, and this is what when we look at what now these guys did over with their DAO that they're setting up, which that's what we were hoping for from the get-go. Like you own your assets, you own a part of this game, you're there as a community member, and take that ownership role. So I'm excited to see where it goes. I really want the again, we talked for a while about if they need anything, they want some help with some stuff, like we're here to support it. Let's do it. So
yeah, let's work together. And so yeah, I mean, there's so much talent and passion in the community. Like Tim was just saying, it's like the old kind of adage of like, oh, well, if there's no Spider Tanks fans left, then it means I'm dead. Or I think a lot of people kind of have that mentality of they're not going to give up on it. They want to, not only have they invested their time and emotional energy, but everyone else has as well. And they've formulated relationships and friendships with people within the community. And if you have that basis, I think it makes it really easy to actually create something worthwhile, because people are going to be, within that same ethos of, okay, we all got here for the same reason. Like Nate was just saying, we came here for this reason. Well, let's just make it ourselves. And it's no different than what we're trying to do with the collective. And so, yeah, I'm excited to hopefully work further down the road with puzzles and support them in what they're doing and create long-term lasting partnerships and relationships with them.
100%.
So Champions Arena is also kind of in a strange spot. They didn't give up their IP or anything like that, but they did remove their original producer Pierre from his position, and now there's a guy, Liam, who has taken over. He did an AMA. Well, over Christmas they did, like I mentioned, they did the promotional stuff and featured that new legendary champion. They have 3 new champions as of January 3rd. There was an update, and then there was a kind of an AMA that was filmed prior to that, but because it was in Korean, they wanted to dub it, and so they prepared it and launched it after the fact. So they used the questionnaires, the questions from the questionnaire rather than anything live, but a lot of those were hard-hitting questions, and so Liam addressed a lot of things. One of the really big ones is you used to be able to instantaneously swap your experience level from one champion to another, and that was really helpful for people that were trying to change around their arena strategies or other reasons too. But there were people that were exploiting that by listing things on OpenSea that had a certain level attached to them based on the metadata, and then they would take that experience off before they actually sold the NFT. They would go back into the game, and so people were buying something fraudulently, or selling fraudulently, and the buyers were getting kind of hosed on that. So their plan is they're going to allow the level transfer thing to take place again as of there's going to be an update on the 10th now. It's a couple days from now. But there's going to be a lock period, at which point the NFTs can't transfer, which makes a lot of sense. I mean, that's a great idea.
Because you should be able to have the ability to do like that testing, like you were just saying. I mean, being able to find out, okay, these are the characters I have. This is the meta I want to run. Oh shoot, do I need a different character to fit into this, system I'm trying to create? I mean, if you don't have that, you're never gonna, perpetuate continual selling and wanting to get further into the game.
Yeah. Another thing that was really bothersome for people is the summoning stones. You could buy legendary summoning stones, but they don't guarantee a legendary. You have up to a legendary, and the drop rates on legendaries is really low. And there were people that were spending a lot to be able to try for a legendary and never getting it. So they're going to implement what they call it a pity system. Apparently, that's a standard gacha term, and that after X number of summons, you will be given a guaranteed legendary. Doesn't say which one it'll be, but you'll definitely get one. Eternal Paradox has that already worked in. You have 2 different types of summons that you can do in each of them. After X number of summons, you're guaranteed to get one of what you're looking for. I'll get back to Eternal Paradox in the future. They seem to do a lot of things right off the get-go, so that's cool. They also wanted to address the Nexus system, which has a lot of people upset. The champions will apparently be given a range of time that they're usable rather than a single use. And then they wanted to also, he was saying that they also want to put in a situation where you can refresh that 8-hour cooldown with a fee, a site fee, he said. None of this has happened yet. This is all stuff that what they're kind of planning out in order to make improvements to the game. Another one was the arena point victory, or the victory point system in the arena, that they're recognizing that the bulk of the victory points go to a certain couple people, and they wanted to they're retooling that. They're going to be some sort of limitation so that macro players can't just stick it on autoplay 24/7 and then soak up the vast majority of the arena or the victory points.
Yeah.
So those were all things that were like the already parts of the game that they need to make adjustments to in order to improve gameplay and keep the game fun for everybody at any level of gameplay, whether you're spending lots of money or not. And so that's where their focus is. There were a couple other questions about things that people would like to see, and they were very positive in their responses about them, but they also were very frank that this is going to be something that's deferred until they can get the game in hand and actually like turn it into something that doesn't seem to have so many like holes in it. One other thing that they mentioned, the Tower of Honor, which we talked about last time, it's going to be a place where you can regularly grind in order to be able to get things like equipment and better items. They intend to do that within the first half of the year, so that's also on their priority list, pretty high up. But again, there were a lot of other questions that people were asking as far as unpaid gems and things that you could do with them, and just more like a quality of life stuff. They said we see that and we are hearing you, but some of those things have to take a back seat to the more critical things, and so they want to get those other things out of the way first.
Cool.
As far as resetting progress, I find that hard to believe. People have already spent money to be able to get to those places, and that would, I guess you just
win is what you're telling me.
Well, very much so.
Yeah, I'm with Jay here. I ran from it because I'm like, it gives you that existential dread, which a lot of players are like, once other people are ahead, it's like, why even play? Like,
well, it depends on how they work the tier system for the arena. If you, and again, that was something that they also referenced. Just like we were seeing with Spider Tanks, the matchmaking system is terrible when there's only like 10 people playing, or even 100 or 1,000 people playing. It still doesn't do what it's supposed to do because you have a limited player base and they have to match against someone. So they want to get the game fixed so that they can actually get a sizable player base again, and then they can look at matchmaking and see whether or not it actually has any issues. But if you're being matched up with people only in your category, then there's a whole lot more opportunity for success. Now, your earnings shouldn't be the same as the people that are earning in a different category, in my mind, whether it's the database stuff or the Gala related stuff, tokens or NFT items or whatever. There is something about, like, it takes money to make money. There's something about skin in the game that matters in that regard. But as far as the gameplay itself, you shouldn't have to play against those people that are that much deeper into it than you, we could say. Like that you shouldn't have to feel like you're going to run up against them. And if it does, it's a fluke rather than the norm. You know, like maybe you just happen to go up a level and all of a sudden you're in with the big boys and they show you just what it's like to play at the next level. so you kind of take a step back again.
Yeah.
I would like Splinterlands gives you the option of whether or not you want to go up to the next league. I think that might be something that would be worth exploring for some of these games. Like, do you want to go to the next league? Do you want to go to the next level? Or do you want to stay at this level where you actually can compete? And that, there would be no advantage for people that have like the super expensive accounts to stay at the lower level because they're not going to be earning as much. They will want to get to that next level. So it would really come down to the people that are competitive, like really, really good players that have managed to put together something that works. Do they want to take their shot at the next league, or do they stay where they're pretty sure that they can get at least a decent win ratio? You know, like, so I don't know. There's things that can be done, and of those things. And so,
moving on.
Last Expedition would be the next game I want to take a look at. It is officially out. We mentioned that it was going to be out. The game is downloadable at the website. And Tim, honestly, I wanted to turn this over to you. Get some.
You are talking to the once #1 player of Last Expedition. Here,
Once.
okay?
What happened? Did Nexus
grinders,
happen?
man? The grinders, man.
Did Nexus
yes,
happen?
Nexus happened. Yes, sadly. Yes. Oh man, Last Expedition. I got high hopes for it. It's great extraction shooter. I think it's very interesting how low key it is right now, right? Because it's all gated. I don't know if they thought this was going to happen or if they're enjoying that it's really low amount of people playing. But because it's gated by the access tokens, there's not many people. But I would say it's. I mean, in the game you can see they have skins and attachments and everything in there that you can't use them yet, but you see that they're going to be there. I think they add those in there, and then they have some sort of battle pass, and you have a fully fledged game. Maybe another type of map or something. And
oh yeah, I mean, it kind of reminds me a little bit almost of, granted, more of just because of the format of the game, but like the finals, right? It's like that.
Yes.
Small, like multiple small teams competing on the same map against each other. Those are really fun games. Like you almost form like little in-game rivalries. You're like, okay, I don't care about anyone but Orange team. We're taking out Orange because they just did this or that, right? Like you get these little kind of like almost chirpy type things of like, or if you're like, oh, purple team's going off right now. It's like, okay, we can't communicate, but our other 3 teams need to kind of work together to take out the guy on top so one of us can topple him or whatever. So I think that kind of style of, I love that type of game.
I would say it's the most mainstream game that I've seen from Gala, besides Mirandus. I think Mirandus is the most mainstream they have because it already hits what everybody likes here. Like most people already like MMOs. It's gonna be like most people in this field have played World of Warcraft. That from what I've seen, people love MMOs. I think Last Expedition, that's the Web 2 guys. Like that's the Call of Duty, Warzone, Fortnite.
It's the sweat game.
The sweaties, yes. And I would say so we played I was on the Gala stream. Me and Deadly were on there. We played 3 matches. We won 2 out of 3. Sorry about it. My bad. But that was I fucking loved it. Like 4 teams going at it. I would say I think it's going to work like extraction shooter, kind of like shrapnel, where 4 teams go into a server, they battle it out. Whoever comes out gets the reward. It's you can go straight 4 people and go to kill them. You can wait till they get the core and they're running to the ship, and you can go meet them at the ship and kill them. You can set monsters on them. Like I know we had multiple times where we would go and we would almost die because of a Ravager would eat us. Then the Ravager would go and eat them, and one of our guys would stay back and heal us, and then we would kill them. It was just the flip flops, man. Yeah, I fucking loved it. I thought it was good.
And I think the concept of extraction shooters and extraction gameplay works really well when you think about the Web3 gaming space. Like it makes the most sense when you think about, okay, if you're going to extract rewards, like how do you do that equally and fairly? I mean, that's what Dead Drop's doing, like you said with Shrapnel. I mean, that's it just from a simplicity standpoint, to me, it makes the most sense. Like, oh, you extract out of the game. If you win, you have the chance to win NFTs or currency or whatever that is, right? But you keep it. If you do it don't make it pay to win. You make it.
Exactly. I think I almost hope that they keep it how they have it with the NFTs. So I really think they have simplicity here. They can go just nodes, like all the servers are node owners, and then the NFTs are just the monsters that they have on there. One that's insanely unique that we haven't really got to see a whole PvE controlled environment where I think it's really cool where you almost separate 2 systems. You have the NFT asset holders. They're playing a different game than the people playing the game.
Yeah,
because they want to make it as hard as possible. They're like, we don't want them to succeed.
Think about this. So like, let's see, most of the games we have now, if the people who own the land and own everything, they have this instantly massive advantage as a player. Whereas Last Expedition, in its moment, you can have the most modded server in the entire game, and you do not have an advantage as a player. You are completely playing a separate game. I think they have to keep it that way. I think they go. I think they keep it free for players. They keep it free to play. You go battle passes and skins, and you go Fortnite, Apex Legends. Keep it just like that. You make all the money, and then you split it with the nodes.
Well, it's like, do you know how much money you'll make if you charge, $10 for a 3-month battle pass or whatever, and you have to have the battle pass to be able to extract rewards? I mean, it's like you can do things like that are simple enough that it's a menial amount of money that people are used to paying for in the Web 2 space. People buy battle passes for every game because they want the skins and they want the other things and they want that premium access. So if you gate the extraction part of that, because that's how you set up, you can keep it Web 2 and Web 3, right? I mean, if you have it where, okay, I don't want to buy the battle pass, maybe you have to buy it through Gala. So you have to have your Gala account, and then that's connected, and that's how you earn. And that's their, motivation for getting people to get a Gala account. Is I even think where you keep it. Yeah.
Well, I've thought don't go play to earn at all. The only play to earn is on the node and on the node owner side. Owner side. They have the play to earn, and then the players just have a normal game. Then you can set up tournaments and leaderboards, and that's where the play to earn is, instead of this whole like win matches, earn little tiny amounts of Gala, and then we have to put honor system on it because they're extracting blah 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 blah. Like, keep it simple, stupid, right?
Yeah,
I know. That's Forge's.
Nate likes that one.
No, this is PG. Keep it super simple.
Keep it super simple.
Super simple.
You're right.
I like that.
Anyways, that's all I got on it. I have high hopes. I think I can't wait till the servers are full, because the amount of times I was playing solo.
Yeah.
It's literally an entire different game when you get 16 people in there and you're running around trying to kill everybody. It's like literally Fortnite, but you're battling other people.
When you talk about, like, I mean, this has been something talked about quite a bit on Twitter and stuff, and it's, the limited access to games, or the idea that there are not enough players that are coming into it. And you see stuff, I can't think of the game now, but he's making a racing game. But the same thing. They've been slowly increasing the amount of people that they allow in, specifically because all of these games are in development. None of these games are polished, done games that they've put 5 years of blood, sweat, and tears and money into to get ready to play. Right? These are they're in the beginning phases, and so if you come in and it's like this game's super great, and you've got 20,000 daily active users, it's going to crush the game and it's going to look like shit, and so then they're going to walk away. So I can see that as a way there. Now, obviously, there's games that can handle a boatload of players. Townstar would have been one of them back in the day, right? You don't need to worry about that amount of players that are going into it because it's not really a competition type style. But I see a lot of that there because all these games are so new. So as they keep adding, we'll start to see. I'm sitting on 20, 25, I don't know, 30 passes for last expedition. It might be less. I gave out quite a few, but I know Family Man has a bunch too. So it's at a point in time, like we're going to run out of those passes, and that's when we're going to start to see like, oh, okay, they're going to need more passes to get people in. There's going to be they're going to have to open up a different way to expand it out, especially if the game is that good and people want to play. So it'll come.
But Tim, this is kind of a question for all you guys, but Tim specifically, I guess, because he's so in the gaming space, especially on that Web 2 side. This is something I've seen kind of shift over the past couple of years. It used to be when you were younger, a game got released and it was perfectly polished, ready to play. You weren't going to have an issue. You put it in your Xbox, you put it in your PlayStation, turned it on, you were good to go. Maybe you had to wipe the disc off. But now it's kind of become more commonplace in the traditional AAA gaming sector. Like when Cyberpunk came out, that's a great example. Hyped it up for years, released it in a horrible state. It wasn't finished. People got pissed off, returned it. It caused a mutiny. They were able to come back out, with the Phantom Liberty patch and, these other things they released to make the game good. But it took them 2 years post-launch. You had a similar thing with like Star Citizen. It's been in development for 12 years and it's kind of slowly been getting better and it's getting to that point. Do you think, I feel like there's kind of a split between people who absolutely hate that and people who are okay with seeing the development as it happens. Like,
I think it's super simple. Do not take their money. Don't make me pay $70 for a game and then you release it and it's dog shit. Yeah. But if it's free to play, we saw it with Fortnite. Most popular game, most explosion ever. Absolute trash at the beginning, but nobody cared because they didn't know. They didn't care. It was early access. It was beta, and it stayed in beta for 2 years.
Yeah.
You had beta, and they had the word beta on it, and it was free, and you only spent the money that you wanted to, and the money that you spent didn't mess with anybody else in the game. It was just you. No pay to win. I think that's what, like, to me, that's what this is. Right now, the game that I've been playing, if it was me, other than the technical, like, server stuff on the background that we don't know about, if it was me, they release it, they have skins, they have battle passes, super simple. The only people earning are the node owners, so all the players are just like, oh, this is a great game. Oh, the people earning are just running the game. Okay, cool. And then all the players come on and they get filtered, like the way the matches are. The way the matches are now is, I think the earnings would confuse everything, because like you just jump in servers and play, like you just like the servers fill out as they fill out. If you want to go play solo on an empty server, go play solo on an empty server. If you want to go jump into a really big server, go do that. They can throw matchmaking in as well, and then just have it to where it fills out servers on their own. Like, I think they could release it just like this and not convolute it with play to earn.
Got it. No, I think that makes
and
sense.
then nobody would care about this the way it is. They say this is alpha. Mm-hmm. Nobody would care. They didn't pay for anything. The only people who paid are the node owners, and the node owners would be earning based on the percentage of rewards that are made by battle passes.
Mm-hmm.
Sign me up. I'm in. We're in.
I think
We're
it's
done.
perfect.
We're all in.
Transition.
Mic drop.
Yeah.
Common Ground World.
Common Ground World. They took their first break in a while from the town hall over the holidays. When they came back, they wanted to do an anything goes meta, meaning that that they didn't have anything that they were highlighting. They made a lot of points shifts in what each of the crafts are worth. So there's a lot of talk that it'll go back to the uber hard stacked boxes being the ones that most people are building just because they'll have the best overall point output. But it could be anything. I'm sure there's going to be people that are experimenting with some of the new point totals. They also said that they're in the town hall meeting, they were flirting with, or they were teasing us with the upcoming coffee meta. They're going to put coffee into the game now, and we'll see. They said they already have a number of buildings, another worker, I think 4 or 5 different products that you'll be able to make. So we're probably going to see something like iced coffee. We could see coffee ice cream. Who knows? But there's going to be coffee now.
I'm thirsty. I need coffee.
I haven't had coffee yet today. So, Eternal Paradox. I mentioned it earlier as kind of a comparison with Champions Arena, mostly because they have the 4X, or they have the turn-based RPG element to both of them. This past weekend, they ran their second Rings of Ruin conquest, which there are 3 of them in a season, and those are the major end of season e-time rewards pools. So the top three guilds qualify for what they call CVPs, or conquest victory points, and then it's distributed out amongst all the members of the guilds as they play. We're in the Dub Guild. We saw some really, really heavy fire from the Eternals this time. They were organized, and they came at us, and they just have more whale power than we do. They had a bunch of guys that were anchoring their ruins that they were holding, and then they also had enough left over that there were 3 or 4. There was 4 different guys at full level 30 with the best troops, and they just came and assaulted the guys that we had that were running rallies to try to take back the ruins. My account lost 95% of its troops in the course of this conquest. So it was like some of that was bad strategy. We were seeing some rallies, like unwinnable rallies, and when you lose, like the losing force can take I think it's like 10% troop loss, and so it's just like it's horrendous. And so we had some really bad series of rallies. Somehow Dub managed to hold on to 3rd place. Square 12, they were in the driver's seat right off the bat, but then it got really close there at the end as the Eternals shifted their focus from us. They started to climb, and it'll be an interesting 3rd round for this, because those 2 are going to be butting heads directly next time. I think Dub is we're going to try to scrounge for a 3rd place spot this next time rather than feel any confidence. We took 2nd in the first one, and then 3rd in this one. But Square 12 has some depth because they have 3 sub guilds that they can kind of work with, and the Eternals are going to have some strong alliances in order to be able to stay afloat, because they are just a solo guild at this point.
I haven't heard of Square. Do we know them?
Square 12 is Burgundy Touch, and
cool.
Yeah,
cool.
So
Good.
Originally, we were all one guild. Dub had all these guys, and it was just too big. So we split, and it turns out that most of the whales went with Burgundy, and so Dub is left with some great Black Harp ancient lands, and then a bunch of players that are more casual than we want.
I mean, shit, I would assume it was pretty fun though. A little conquest, a little battle. It
was a blast. It's an hour and a half long. Honestly, if someone knows the flow of something like that, it could make for a really interesting YouTube video. Just that entire hour and a half of seeing what's going on, because you wouldn't want to just sit there and focus at the scoreboard. You'd be able to identify the strategies, but it would take someone that is really tuned into the game and and then not also playing at the same time. So, we'll see if that can happen in the future.
We'll see.
So that was a lot of fun. Another thing I wanted to point out about Eternal Paradox, you look through the announcements and they'll do a reset here and there. It's just a quick server reset where you're down for like 5 seconds. They have done a couple longer update modes. They're not selling a bunch more NFTs. They did put up the mercenary tomes that you could buy with e-time, but they're not pushing a ton of NFTs. They're not looking at things. Oh, we have to completely revamp this system. They put out a solid product right off the bat, and we're excited to see what happens as far as like the overall earnings at the end of this season. How's that going to impact things? Because the 60% of all of the e-time is being held till the end of the season. Right. It's going to be distributed over like even the top guilds. It's distributed out over 50 people there. So. It's not going to all end up in one person's pocket, but there are some people that are going to come out ahead over others. So we'll have to see what that does to the economy in general. But the gameplay itself, I don't hear negatives. There's very little that people are upset about with this. Burgundy had mentioned it. I saw. We'd like to see more syncs. It would be really good to have them in place before all that e-time gets distributed, so that it's not just something that's being extracted and dumped on the market, that people actually have some reason to have it and something to spend it on. But other than that, everything seems pretty tight, and we're pleased with the way things are. And Ahead of the Game was back. They missed a week, but this time they came back for episode 32. Bitbender and Anita together, and Bitbender was working from home, so he had his setup in much better condition than what he had. Apparently his last one was from his mom's kitchen table with the dog running around bumping his camera and stuff like that. One of the early things that they talked about was Virtual was doing a live stream of his shipwreck crate openings. I think all told he had like 200 of them, but I don't think anyway, he got to the last one and he opened it up and it was number 999 and it had the Town of the Duke in it. So he is now a double Duke because he already had a Town of the Duke. But fantastic, man. Like I remember I was able to congratulate him right away in chat. But everyone was kind of waiting around to see where that one was going to go, and for it to show up on a live stream as the absolute last box, it was just like it's one of those neat little like moments for content creation, I guess. They also said that I remember that in the last fireside chat, McCarthy was toying with when the next playtest would be out, and he was saying hopefully Q1. They kind of reinforced that in this Ahead of the Game, and they said that it is scheduled for Q1 at this point. So still a bit out. Like that could be the end of March for all we know, but not beyond that as far as what they're talking about at this point. Get Plucked had the a Christmas promo of if you got to level 60, they were giving legendary chickens to your account. Eventually to be minted on Gala Chain. The chickens as of now are in-game only, unless you already like had them from outside. Something that they didn't mention in the Ahead of the Game, but it has come to pass. They announced it in the Vox server that Get Plucked is removed from the Apple Store. They said it had something to do with new criticisms of the type of like the way the game worked, and they said in order for them to be able to comply with the Apple Store, they would have to put so much effort into it that they would rather put that towards Vox itself, and so they're not going to try to get it back up on the Apple Play Store, but it is still available on the Google Play Store. So you can, if you're an Android user, you can still use that, or you can you could get an emulator, I guess, for your laptop if you wanted to continue to play Get Plucked.
Do we know anything about the technicals of that? Like why was it NFT thing? Maybe they weren't complying with.
They were kind of nebulous.
Yeah, okay, it's fine. Whatever.
It was just an announcement from Vera Awesome. You know,
I remember it. I thought maybe it came out, but it's all good.
My guess it's going to be more along the lines of having to do with rev share, or in how they were getting rev through Gala, but not sharing enough with
Yes.
Apple. Is my guess is what it comes down.
Yeah,
to.
that's it. That's
Again, that's all pure conjecture. I have no clue.
Yeah. There's no date yet, but there is a reset coming for The Walking Dead. It'll be a complete wipe of everything except the experience that you've gained on your heroes, and so starting over from base level 1. It's going to be a really, really good time for the Moth to rally the troops again and get back out there. There's apparently been some guild play since the original fever of it, where these new guys are claiming to be the best guild and Dark Rift, who continues to march towards level 100. He's a bit dismayed about the fact that they're going to start over at level 1 because that's going to cut his experience gain down dramatically. But he should be able to get back up there pretty quick, being as high level as he is. But these guys are kind of claiming that they're the best, and it would be good for us to show them what the truth is.
Who are these guys? Who do we need to crush?
We'll discuss that.
Where do I need to put all of my assets? What's happening?
No, they're fine. They got in there and they saw that they were doing really well, and they were surpassing people, and Darkwood was like, that's because I'm really the only one left really grinding in this game. So he's kind of holding off their entire guild with his daily grind.
Love it. Love it.
Anyway, it is going to be an upgrade. So it's not just they aren't just wiping it arbitrarily. They're going to be including a lot of new features into the game. So hopefully one of those is the ability for there to be put permissions on the NFTs that we have, so that you don't have the entire universe being able to use your ancient crafting station just because you paid for it.
There. Yeah.
You know what? I'm putting it down right now. I'm getting in there.
Nice.
I'm gonna go dominate them.
Well, we get
in there for Dark Rift. He needs some help.
About the potential for that. We've got a challenger now, and so
yeah, I'm gonna rally the troops. We'll get some people in there.
Gem was the first round. They played well. We got to 60 base first, and we have the best.
So the levels stay, but the bases are going down.
The bases are reset. Your masteries are reset, which is a really big deal because you get some great bonuses from your masteries. But and you lose all your equipment. Start over from scratch with that too.
Right.
So
cool.
Your NFTs are the same. They're not going to change that. And I think that's the way to look at it. You know, your hero is an NFT, and so his experience is going to persist.
Okay. Cool.
One other thing that I noticed through the head of the game AMA is that Bitbender kept mentioning an upcoming ecosystem, like blueprint or roadmap that was going to be coming out shortly. And he did mention multiple times self-service Gala chain features. So we have no idea when we'll see any of this stuff, but it's definitely something that they're.
What game is that for?
It's something that they need to get out. So I'm assuming that they're prioritizing it. And so we'll see more about that as the days go by, I'm sure. That's what we've got for today. We did. There was a lot. It wasn't that we didn't. I'm kind of thankful that we didn't sit here and go through each of the Christmas discounts and everything like that. It was a good time to take a break. There was no free, like, useless NFT this year. They decided to to forgo that. And Bitbender mentioned that they'd rather give us something that has a utility if they're going to give anything out. So a discount might be perceived that way. You know, if you can get a deal on something that you wanted anyways, that there's some utility there. But
thanks for all the info, man.
yeah,
All good stuff. We'll be back next week. So now that it's New Year, we'll be more consistent. Obviously, everybody's got holidays and stuff. So Mondays, 10 a.m. 10 a.m.
Monday, 10 a.m.
Apparently the founder nodes have been dropping, or the NFTs have been dropping, but
Well, I'm going to see
slowly,
real quick.
slowly.
very slowly, but apparently they are.
I mean, I should have something. I run a few nodes, so
Just a couple.
You're our litmus test. We'll see.
Luca Biley showed a list of everything that came over the Gala Chain Explorer. That it was a chunk of spider tanks and common ground world stuff, but that was a couple days ago, and then the Explorer had been kind of quiet. So I don't know if they ran into a glitch or something, or if they just they're really leaking it out over a long period of time. But there's apparently a lot of stuff that needs to go out. So hopefully eventually all the node owners are going to be able to get their hands on something.
Yeah.
you hope so.
Well, I mean, it's
We shall
random.
see.
I'm terrible with things like lottery. So I'm not expecting a thing. I'll be pleasantly surprised.
Exactly.
I can't log in, so we'll see.
Yeah.
But anyways, Monday at 10 a.m. We should get somebody to make a GIF of that with the
Yeah, I was just gonna
Monday
say.
at 10 a.m. I love that. All right, guys.
That's good.
Thanks a lot.
Well, we
Thanks a
appreciate
bunch.
it, everyone. Thank you so much for those who are here, and we'll see you next week.
Peace.
Adios.